Alright, good afternoon guys. It's a beautiful day in Pennsylvania and I'm working on the stewed. So, you'll notice I got the gold box in the car and it's all wired up. I finally worked all the bugs out, so obviously not everything's tidied, but it's at least wired, so give it a start. So, you can hear it run. It took me a little while to figure out how the VVT was supposed to work. I kept revving the car, and then when it would come off a rev, it would all of a sudden idle real rough, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And finally I figured out that it was starting to give it some VVT, because I told it to, and what do you know? It wasn't set up correctly, so had to play around with the settings a little bit, but it's all wired up. Like I said, I left all the wires long, you know, instead of you know, only making the wire this long, you know, say this was a wasted spark, and say these two coils are paired together. And you know, you could put a butt splice, you know, connecting the two wires right here, and then just run a single wire the rest of the way down the way. But what I did was I left every single wire long, you know, back to the massive merge in the back. That way I could convert to a sequential ignition and sequential fueling at some point. One of the nice things about this engine is all the injectors are on this single plug, and so I left all those wires long, of course. And yeah, actually the other update for today is I picked up a 2008 engine, so at some point if I blow up this one, or I'm looking for an upgrade, I can go to this guy. It has a slightly better head and more aggressive cams and better valve springs. Has better coils as well, but I'll probably stick with the LS coils. So yeah, at some point I'll upgrade to this guy. And yeah, so at some point I want to go to a heavier weight oil. I noticed the oil pressure as it got hot yesterday, it seemed to start to fall off a little bit as it got really hot. So I have the factory 5W20 stuff in it, and I actually originally started the car with 10W40, and it had 75 pounds of oil pressure at idle, and I was like, that seems like really high. So I changed it to the factory stuff, the 5W20, and well, I think I'm going to go back, because I've seen this on other cars. It's I mean, you definitely want to run synthetic because it's less likely to froth, but on our Turbo LS car, as soon as you make a pass, the oil pressure would drop dramatically. to, you know, go from like 30 psi at idle to like 20 psi at idle, and that's starting to get to the scary zone. So we threw some much heavier weight oil into it and haven't had a problem since. That was on the Camaro. So I think I'm going to do that as well. You'll notice I have my pressure transducer plumbed in, so that'll be in my data logs now. And this wire right here, that's going to go to my oil pressure sender, which is down there, that guy. So I'm hoping I can use the same sensor and not have to plumb in a new one. But another thing with these engines that I forgot to mention in my overview is you'll notice this AN stainless steel braided line there. These engines have a little bit of an issue with how they prioritize the main bearings, and I hope you can see it, but it's probably not going to focus. Let me see if I can get some light. Alright, now let's try it. So, you'll notice that stainless steel line going into an AN fitting there, and there's actually a fitting in the block. I made that, and then my turbo feed, well, there's a temperature sensor there too, but I haven't plumbed that in yet. That's just the analog gauge. I was going to have it because I would have to manually turn on the fans with the micro squirt. Now the gold box can do all that for me. So I guess it'll be there for me when I want to look at it. But you know, the gold box should generally handle it. And I don't have a digital dash, so I can't really see the temperature it's seeing. But yeah. Anyways, sidetracked. So yeah, you'll see this. There's a line coming off the back there. Basically, I wanted to prioritize the turbo last in the engine because it, you know, needs the least amount of oil. But if we lower you down here, so you'll see the stainless steel line comes all the way from the front there, that oil port. Then it makes its way back to that second to last plug, and these engines actually prioritize the front main and then all the cam stuff. And under high output applications, they tend to spin main bearings and rod bearings because the way the engine prioritizes the oiling. So you just bypass it. That goes right into the main, in the back of towards the back of the engine. They say if you're running a full dry sump, you should run it to the very back plug there, where I have my turbo feed coming from. And if you are running the stock oil pump, you should run it into the second to last plug. So yeah, just a FYI, in case there's anybody who is thinking about swapping one of these and doing a turbo application. Yeah, I wanted to mention that, but I forgot. So now you know. So that's my update for today. Pretty excited to try out the VVT now that it's actually functioning right, and super excited. So I'll catch you guys later.